Luka Doncic is such a powerful force that from time to time, he actually has to rip his shirt to check whether or not he truly has Superman powers. All jokes aside, players in the league now know not to mess with the Mavericks superstar because he never backs down from anyone. And if anything, the angrier he gets, the better he gets. If you don't believe me, just ask Devin Booker. Anyway, today we'll go over example after example on just why you shouldn't trash talk Luka Doncic. Just before we start this video, I just wanted to let you all know that we listened to your advice and got some sheesh t-shirts. If you want to check them out, the link's down below. And without further ado, let's do this. On January 15th of 2022, the Orlando Magic flew to Dallas for a game against Luka and the Mavericks. By the fourth quarter, the game was practically already over, but the Magic didn't give up and kept battling. And in one play, Jalen Suggs made a strong play towards the basket by driving through Luka for the bucket and the foul.
Right there by Suggs and a score for the rookie.
Well, his teammate Mo Wagner flexed on Luka after that and screamed in his face. That was a huge error on Wagner's part because Luka wasn't about to let this slide, not one bit. In fact, he actually retaliated immediately. First, he physically shoved him to send the message that this ain't over. Then afterwards, he had some trash-talking words for him, such as, "Are you mad? Who the f*** are you?" And from that point onwards, Wagner knew he made a mistake. So, in the very next possession, Luka had the ball with Wagner defending him. His teammate came and set a screen for a switch, and Mo Wagner's brother, Franz, switched onto him. Well, Luka charged at him, did a little dance, and easily floated one off the glass as to say, "Wagners are nothing." The Mavericks ended up winning that game by 16 points, but that wasn't the end between Luka and Mo, because later that month, they were matched up again. In the first quarter of the very next game, Luka had the ball on the perimeter, and guess who was guarding him? That's right, Mo Wagner. Well, Luka pulled out a couple of moves from his bag, then easily got by him for the bucket. Then, I couldn't lip read what Doncic said, but he's clearly looking at Mo's direction and saying something that's probably not PG-13. Then, not too long after that, Wagner gets scored on again after a shot fake. Luka didn't hesitate to waste this opportunity, so he looked his way again and probably called him a scrub or something like that. At this point, I'm pretty sure Mo Wagner learned his lesson, but anyway, it's time to move on. Next up is Terence Mann. Now, I'm not sure where things started between these two, but they do not like each other. I mean, look, in a preseason game dating back to October of 2019, when Mann was just a rookie, a play was stopped by the officials, but Mann disrespected the Maverick star by slapping the ball out of his hands. Well, I'm not sure what happened between them for the rest of the season, but I do know that the bad blood between them never stopped, because in the following year, when the Clippers matched up with the Mavericks, Mann ended up guarding Luka on the perimeter and, well, Luka backed him down like he was a kid, then said he was too small. Well, Mann didn't like that, and the two of them ended up in each other's faces again. And, in another game just a little while later, where Mann had 6 fourth quarter points to Luka's 23, they once again got into each other's faces, with Mann looking visibly upset and Luka looking like he's enjoying it. In fact, Luka was such a savage in that game that he told Mann to look up at the scoreboard as he had 40+ points. Then when Mann tried responding, Luka covered his ears like he was saying, "La la 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 la, can't hear you." Now, I'm not sure who started this whole beef, but I'm sure Mann wishes that it never happened because look, Mann's been averaging 6.3 points against Luka in all their matchups together, while Luka has been averaging 33.7. Talk about a discrepancy. Oh, and before I forget, when Mann was asked about the rivalry between the two of them, he responded, "I think we're out there making each other better. Just out there battling and getting under each other's skin, and that's part of the game." He clearly doesn't want the smoke anymore. One person who continually wants the smoke, though, is Devin Booker, who apparently never ever learns his lesson. I mean, the 2022 Western Conference Semifinals was a playoff series that I'll never forget. Up 2-0, Booker thought that series was done and was chirping at Luka nonstop. I mean, he slapped the ball away from Luka, he fell to the ground and called it the Luka special, and probably talked a lot more smack off camera. Well, this is a prime example of why you don't trash talk Luka, especially in the playoffs, because that series ended up going to a Game 7 in Phoenix where Luka embarrassed Booker and the Suns so bad that the game entered the history books. What I mean by that is, that was the fourth biggest beatdown in a Game 7 since the inception of the NBA, and this photo here says it all. In fact, if there ever was a graphic image of trash talking gone wrong, this would be it. Booker actually apologized to Luka after the game, like a school kid apologizing to a teacher. Since then, in the eyes of the NBA community, Luka has officially become the father of Devin Booker. But just when I thought this was the end of it, it wasn't, because Booker is acting like a rebellious teenager towards his dad. I mean, in 2023, in a close game between the Mavs and the Suns, Luka missed a game-tying shot, and after that, Booker had some choice words for him, which then led Luka to going up to him immediately. Once again, they were in each other's faces. After the game, Luka said of the situation, "It's all good. Next time, just don't wait until there's 3 seconds left to talk." Luka really is a master of basketball trash talk. It's yet to be seen if these two can get matched up again in the playoffs, but if they do, the pressure is all on Booker, because if he's on the receiving end of another Luka special, he's going to end up a meme for the rest of his career. Anyway, next up we have one of the two most notorious brothers in the NBA, Marcus Morris. Alright, so dating back to the 2020 playoffs, Morris has been trying to quote-unquote get Luka on every possible opportunity. For example, in one play, he clearly stepped on Luka's shoe and was trying to trip him up. Then on another play, he whacked Luka across the face on a drive to the basket, and honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Morris's dirty plays. Well, just like Mo Wagner, Terence Mann, and every other player who tries these tricks with Luka magic, it comes back to bite them one way or another. So in the following playoff season, when the Mavs once again ran into the Clippers, Luka posterized him. I mean, look, here's Luka on the perimeter. He uses the screen to switch onto the big, and then what happened? He turned the corner, and from there, all he saw between himself and the basket was the man who tried hurting him a year ago, his old pal, Marcus Morris. Well, Luka isn't known for his leaping abilities, but he had to send a message, and he completely posterized this man. Anyway, Luka's teammate Maxi Kleber also took matters into his own hands when it came to Morris's cheap shots against Luka. So on this drive by Morris, Maxi gave him a taste of his own medicine and whacked him to the floor, where he stayed for a few minutes. These Morris brothers always seem to eventually get what they deserve. I mean, remember Markieff Morris and his cheap shot against Nikola Jokic and what that led to?
And Jokic, oh no!
Funny enough, Markieff now plays with Luka on the Mavericks, so I wonder what conversations they had about Marcus. Moving on here, whether you're a player or even an assistant coach, Luka doesn't care one bit. If you trash talk him, he'll retaliate. So in a game between Detroit and Dallas, one of the Pistons' assistant coaches, Isaiah Livers, was chirping at Luka in the fourth quarter and probably thought he could get away with it, but the Mavericks superstar responded immediately and did not hold back at all. Luka probably uttered some not safe for work words and then ended it by saying, "Who are you? Who are you?" The Mavericks won that game, and if you bring up the box score, Luka scored 53 points that game. That's not a good look for Isaiah. But anyway, speaking of a 50-point game, this next one isn't really trash talk, but it is hilarious. In late December of 2022, before the Spurs were to match up against the Mavericks, Greg Popovich was asked about his defensive game plan for Luka, and he had this to say.
50 is going to be our goal, 50. We're holding Luka under 50.
Well, funny enough, the Dallas Mavericks won that game by 1 point, 126-125, and Luka scored 51 points.